call Samantha Asklund. Thank you.
Asklund?
Yeah.
Ms. Asklund, please come forward up here, raise your right hand, be sworn in, and you will come have a seat at the witness stand.
Do you swear that the testimony you're about to provide in this matter shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
All right, have a seat right there. When you get to the seat, Ms. Asklund, can you please spell your last name?
My last name, Asklund, A-S-K-L-U-N-D.
Thank you. You may begin, Ms. Ludvigsen.
Thank you. Can you briefly tell the court where you're employed
Burnett County Highway Department.
and how long you've been employed there?
Almost a year.
Want to draw your attention back to Friday, December 20th, 2024. In the afternoon, do you recall, were you working that day?
Yes.
And in terms of what capacity, what were you doing that day?
I had got done clearing all the roads, the state roads.
And so for the highway department, what do you do?
I plow roads, maintain roads, anything that deals with roads.
Okay. And so on December 20th, you had been out plowing, correct? And did anything out of the ordinary happen around 1 p.m. that day?
Yeah, I noticed a white vehicle on Skog Road coming towards 87 from the west. And there is a barn, and then there's a house, and then there is a pine tree. And I don't feel that the person that was driving the white vehicle had slowed down at all. And she came up to the stop sign and she did not even apply her brakes and then ran right into me.
Okay. And so let's talk about that. You were traveling on Highway 87, correct?
Yes,
There's no, where you were traveling and came in contact with this other vehicle, you did not have a stop sign, correct?
no, I did not.
You had a straightaway
Yes,
and there was a vehicle approaching from your left. Is that accurate?
yes, from the west.
And the vehicle approaching from the west on the left-hand side, they had were you able to observe, did they have a stop sign?
Yes,
And it was an official stop sign?
yes,
And your indication is you were proceeding through that intersection and that vehicle came in and struck you, is that accurate?
yes.
I'm gonna show you, it's been marked as exhibit 1. It might be.
Yeah.
Is that a diagram showing that essential intersection that you're discussing?
Correct,
And that intersection located within the township of Grantsburg, correct?
correct.
And can you tell the court what is on that diagram in terms of vehicles?
It would be, I assume, the plaintiff? Her? Sorry, I don't know.
What vehicle would you be in terms of?
I
that?
was in the dump truck, so I was heading north, coming from the south.
You may.
I will have you indicate your vehicle with
Okay.
number 1.
Okay,
And your vehicle that's indicated with a, did you handwrite number 1 on there by chance?
yes,
Okay, it actually says number, ooh, little tight, sorry, Your Honor.
I'll make it bigger. 1.
You were traveling south,
I was
To
traveling
north.
north. Yep, from
Sorry.
the south to the north.
Ms. Asklund, I do have to say, you have to wait until Ms. Ludvigsen
sorry.
is done speaking before you speak. It's difficult for my court reporter to take everything
Got
down,
it.
okay?
and so there's no confusion. Can you cross out the vehicle itself had a number 2 listed on there? Do you see that?
I see a 1 and then there's me.
Correct. The number, the vehicle going from the south to the north, that was your vehicle.
Yes,
And you hand wrote number 1 on there, correct?
yes.
You see that actually on the vehicle itself, it has a number 2.
Oh, I do now.
Can you cross out the number 2 so we have no confusion?
Got it.
And the vehicle to the left that has a number 1
Yes,
handwritten on it, or I mean, printed on it, can you cross out the printed ones?
yes,
And is the vehicle that's approaching the stop sign the driver of the other vehicle that struck you?
yes,
Can you write a number 2 on that vehicle?
yes.
Does that diagram accurately reflect that intersection on that day in question?
Yes,
I move to mid exhibit 1, Your Honor.
Has Ms. Stadler seen that exhibit?
Yes, with the exception of I can show her the handwritten. Sorry. Just to take out the numbers on there.
Any objection, Ms. Stadler?
No.
Received.
Was there anything obstructing your view that day?
no,
And so you were able to see the vehicle approaching from your left for how long a period of time?
well, if you say it like that, I did mention that there was a barn, a house, and a tree. But I could clearly see the tree to the stop sign where she should have had plenty enough time to stop.
Okay. And so even though there was a barn and a tree there, you were able to see her approaching that stop sign and see that she had not stopped at the
Yes.
stop sign, correct?
Correct.
And ultimately then her vehicle, that vehicle came through and struck your truck that day, correct?
Correct.
And that was the truck that you were driving for the county, is that accurate?
Correct.
What happened next?
Then I called my supervisor immediately. My supervisor told me to call 911 immediately. That's what I did. I got out, was trying to figure out who had hit me, and then I had figured out it was her. The passenger had fleeing the scene. And then it just all escalated from there.
Okay. And when you say she hit you, just so that we have this on the record, do you see the individual that was driving the vehicle that did not stop at the stop sign?
Yes,
In court today, you see that person?
yes,
Are they seated to my left wearing a flower blouse?
yes,
Your Honor, I ask that the record reflect identification of the defendant.
Let the record reflect that Ms. Askeland has identified Ms. Stadler.
And then did you, after making the call to the police department, did you have any conversations with the defendant at all?
I asked her if she was okay.
Okay. And then ultimately the police responded, is that accurate?
Yes, and the fire department.
And do you recall whether or not there was any damage done to the vehicle,
Hers?
to your vehicle?
Oh, yeah.
And Your Honor, do you want to do it at the same time or do you want to do the restitution part after?
Let's do it at the same time.
Okay. And in terms of the damage, can you tell the court a little bit about the damage that occurred to your vehicle?
From what I understand,
And let me make sure that I'm understanding when we say to your vehicle, is this a vehicle that is personally owned by you or is it owned by somebody or something else?
it is owned by the highway department.
Okay, that's what I needed to make sure. Okay.
Yep.
And so the vehicle that was owned by the highway department that you were operating that day, what damage, if any, do you know occurred to that vehicle?
She hit my steps. She opened up my fuel tank. She moved my push axles, I think a half a foot. I believe my 2 axles in the back of the dump truck also were pushed over, but I don't know how much. There's the hydraulic tank, I believe, was damaged also. There was a lot of damage.
Okay. And ultimately, do you know whether or not an estimate was received in regards to the damage done?
I think there is, but I do not have a total on that.
And do you know whether or not a deductible had to be paid in regards to that damage?
As far as I know, there's supposed to be, but I don't know the legalities on all of that.
I have no further questions at this stage, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Stadler, do you have questions for Ms. Askeland?
I do. If you have pictures of the road at the time, Scog Road, how fast you were going, and when the Scog Road was last salted.
Well, those are multiple questions. You have to ask one at a time, okay?
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. The first one, how fast the plow truck was going.
I believe I was probably going 40.
Then if you have pictures of Scog Road at the time.
I have pictures, but I don't have specifically of Skog Road.
And then when Scog Road was last salted.
I wouldn't know because I'm not part of that department. I do only state roads.
Okay. I'm done.
All right, any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
You may step down, thank you.
Yep.
Ms. Ludvigsen, other witnesses?
Yes, I will call the officer.
Officer, please, what's your name?
Andrew Tyler.
Andrew Tyler, that's
Sorry,
right,
Your Honor.
Andrew Tyler. Please come forward, raise your right hand, be sworn in, and come have a seat at the witness stand.
Do you swear that the testimony you are about to give in this matter shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I swear.
Please state your name for the record.
Andrew Tyler.
And can you briefly describe your education and training for the court?
Yes, I'm a police officer. I attended a 2-year program at Northwoods Technical College and a police academy at CVTC.
And did you receive any training in regards to traffic offenses?
Yes,
Did you successfully complete all that training?
yes,
Did you receive training in regards to, in particular, accident?
yes,
And did you successfully complete that training?
yes.
And how long have you been employed with the Village of Grantsburg?
Been employed with Grantsburg for a year.
I want to draw your attention back to December 20th of 2024, approximately 1:17 PM. Do you recall if you were working that day?
Yes,
And what, if anything, occurred at that time?
I was mutual aided to assist Burnett County in Township of Grantsburg on the accident.
And
or the
does the
crash.
does the Village of Grantsburg and the township have an agreement in terms of mutual aid and assistance? Is that accurate?
Yes, the Village of Grantsburg and the county does.
And in terms of the response, what was that in regards to?
It was in regards to a crash at the intersection of Skog and 87.
Taking a look at that call that day, you then responded to that location, is that accurate?
Yes.
And what, if anything, did you observe?
When I responded to the scene, I observed the dump truck was on 87 on the east side of 87 northbound. And then I observed the white vehicle was in the ditch. And that would have been on the west side of 87 near the intersection of Skog.
And you created an accident report, is that accurate?
Yes,
Showing spin marked as Exhibit 1, do you have that in front of you?
yes,
And is that a diagram that was created by you?
yes.
Can you tell the court a little bit about the diagram?
Yes, it has 2 vehicles. It has the numbers are now changed, but the dump truck is listed as number 1, traveling northbound. And the other car is labeled as number 2, traveling eastbound. There's a stop sign, and then number 2 proceeding through the stop sign and striking the dump truck.
Okay, and to clarify, the vehicle that's traveling, that's noted on there is the dump truck vehicle 1 that was traveling from the south to the north. Did they have any signs of any sort telling them to stop?
No,
It's a straightaway, is that accurate?
yes,
And to the left, the vehicle that had approached from the left, was there any official signs indicating to that vehicle what to do?
yes, stop sign.
And do you recall whether or not that was fully visible on that day?
Yes,
There was some discussion, obviously, that the plow had been out plowing. Was there anything obstructing that stop sign to the best of your knowledge?
not that I can recall.
And in terms of the road conditions, did you have an opportunity to view the roads that day at that intersection?
Yes,
And based upon your training experience, was there ample time for the vehicle from the left to be able to stop at the stop sign?
with driving for conditions, yes.
Okay. And in terms of the vehicle on the left, were you able to ascertain who the driver of that vehicle was?
Yes.
And are they in the courtroom today?
Yes.
They've previously been identified as the defendant.
Yep. Yes.
And were you able then to speak with that individual?
Yes.
And can you tell the court about those conversations?
Okay. She was in an ambulance when I arrived, so I approached her in the ambulance, and I talked to her briefly in the ambulance and took down her information. I did ask her if she had insurance on the vehicle at that time, and she said she did not. I took her phone number and told her I'd get in contact with her after the rest of the scene was controlled.
Okay. And in speaking with her, did the defendant give any verification or exceptions as to why she did not have insurance on her vehicle? Do you
She
know?
said it had lapsed.
Okay. And do you recall whether or not she indicated whether she had stopped at the stop sign?
I didn't talk to her about the crash at that time. I talked to her when I went to BMC.
And can you tell the court then what happened next?
Yep, at Burnett Medical Center, I asked her to give me an overview of what happened, and she told me she attempted to stop, but had slid through the stop sign.
Okay. And so did she indicate that she then struck the other vehicle, the dump truck?
Yep, yes,
And were you able to observe whether there was any damage to the county dump truck that day?
yes.
Can you tell the court a little bit about that damage? What you observed?
What I observed, I took photos also. What I observed was the gas tank. I observed the underside of the driver's side was damaged, but I couldn't tell you what the extent of the damage was.
Okay.
As far as a monetary value or anything like that.
And what then happened at that stage?
Completing the crash report included, I talked to the passenger of the vehicle too.
Okay. And when you say the passenger of the vehicle, which vehicle are we just?
It would be Elizabeth's passenger.
Okay. And was there a passenger that had left as well?
He was on scene. I talked to him and then I told him he was free to go. I retrieved his information, everything I needed from him, and then he was able to go.
Okay. And were you able to speak with the other driver,
Yes,
the driver of the dump truck?
yes,
And you heard testimony today. Was that consistent?
yes.
And then what happened after that? After you were able to speak to both drivers?
When I spoke to both, then I left and the scene was cleaned up then.
Did you ultimately end up issuing citations?
Yes,
And who did you issue citations to?
to Elizabeth
And was that, I'll say Stadler?
Stadler, yes.
And those two citations were for what?
It was a failure to yield stop sign and no insurance on motor vehicle.
No further questions for this witness, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Ms. Stadler, do you have questions for the officer?
No.
You do not?
No.
You may step down. Thank you. Next witness, Ms. Ludwigson?
Yes, I'm going to actually call Ms. Stadler to the stand.
Oh, you can't talk to her. Can't talk to her. Ms. Stadler, please come forward. You're being called as an adversary witness. Raise your right hand, be sworn in, and then have a seat at the witness stand.
Do you swear that the testimony you are about to give in this matter shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
You may begin.
Please state your name for the record.
Elizabeth Stadler.
And Ms. Stadler, I want to draw your attention back to December 20th, 2024, approximately 1 p.m. in the afternoon. Were you driving a motor vehicle that day?
I was.
And in terms of that vehicle, Do you recall where you were at approximately 1 o'clock?
I had just turned off of, I think it was Russell Road onto Skog Road.
Okay. And were you then approaching Highway 87?
Yes,
Okay. Do you recall whether or not, as you were approaching Highway 87, was there a stop sign at that location?
there was.
And were you able to see that stop sign that day?
I was.
Do you recall whether or not you saw any traffic on Highway 87?
When I first saw the stop sign, no, I didn't see any traffic.
Okay. Do you know, have you driven that area before?
No,
Okay. Do you know whether or not there was a stop sign at all on Highway 87 for any other vehicles to stop?
no,
That was a terrible question for my. Was there any stop signs on Highway 87 at the location where you were?
on the road that I was on, yes. On 87, no,
Okay, so there was no stop signs on that location.
no,
They were able to just keep traveling straight forward.
yes.
And ultimately then, did you stop at the stop sign?
I tried to stop. It was very icy. That road had not been plowed or salted, so it was difficult for me to stop on that road.
Okay. And ultimately, you agree, you went through the intersection and then struck another vehicle. Is that accurate?
I slid through the intersection and struck a vehicle.
Okay. And did you have insurance on that day?
My insurance had lapsed, so no.
So that answer would be no?
Yep.
And you had no exception as to why you wouldn't have had that insurance, correct? No legal exception?
No.
And do you agree that damage was done to the dump truck on that day?
I'm not 100% sure what was done to the dump truck that day, but
Were you able to visually see any damage done to the dump truck?
no, I basically went to the ambulance right away. I had a broken foot, some cracked ribs, so.
I have nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Ms. Stadler, you have been called as a witness for the plaintiff. You're going to get an opportunity to present your own testimony at a different date and time, or a different time, as soon as Ms. Ludvigsen closes her case. But you get to provide information to the court off of her questions that she just asked you, if you would like to do so.
Okay.
Right now, you can do that.
Well, when I was driving on that road, it was my first time being on that road. I had just turned off of Russell Road onto Skog, and it was snowy and icy. So I was going probably a max speed of 25, 30. And then when I had got to the stop sign, I tried to stop. I hit my brakes and then slid through the intersection and struck a truck, and I don't know what happened from there.
All right, anything else off of those questions?
No.
Okay, Ms. Ludvigsen, do you have any redirect off of her statements?
No, Your Honor.
All right, you may step down. Thank you. Additional witnesses, Ms. Ludvigsen?
Not at this time, Your Honor. I apologize in terms of restitution. I didn't know that that was coming forward today. And so they did run to try and obtain the estimates for the court system.
Okay, that's fine. We still have Ms., well, we can break on that issue. Okay, nobody needs to talk to anybody. No, break on the issue of restitution. Okay, so you're asking to stay on that witness, Ms. Ludvigsen, at
Yes.
least at this time. Any other witnesses except for that?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, so then we will move on to Ms. Stadler. Ms. Stadler, you right now have an opportunity to provide the court with any further detail, any further testimony that you wish to do so as it relates to that date and time, this incident, etc. You have the ability to provide it in a narrative or a story-like fashion. I know you just gave a little bit of a statement based upon the questions that Ms. Ludvigsen did ask you, but now you can do so more in a thorough response if you wish to do so. All right, you may begin, and I'll allow you to do so from there.
Okay. Well, as I said earlier, I was on Skog Road around 1 p.m. Then I was my max speed about 25, 30. I saw the stop sign ahead and tried to stop, but my car slid on the ice into the intersection. I got into an accident. I was being careful, not using my phone while driving and going slowly because of the ice. And I'm sorry this happened, but yeah. The ice was just ice and snow.
All right. Is that all?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have additional questions, Ms. Ludvigsen?
No, Your Honor.
The court can proceed at least as it relates to the tickets right now, or the court can give another opportunity while we wait for the restitution for you to consider and to think about whether or not you wish to accept the offer. Negligence isn't a defense. So I can break right now if you wish to think about accepting the offer, or if you wish the court to make a decision as it relates to both of the tickets.
I would like a break, please.
All right, the court will take a break. We'll wait for the restitution witness set only until 11, and she has a time crunch because she has to get to work at a group home by 11. She's going to be a tad bit late, so the court, along with the agreement of plaintiff Village of Grantsburg, has agreed to adjourn the restitution portion to a later date, and allowing the parties to appear by Zoom if they would like to do so. As it relates to the two ticket matters, Ms. Stadler, I did give you another opportunity to discuss it with Ms. Ludvigsen if you wish to now accept the offer, or if you would like the court to proceed and render judgment as it relates to both of those matters. Did you have an opportunity to talk with Ms. Ludvigsen?
We actually did not speak. I think she was speaking with the family members.
Oh, okay.
So
Ms. Ludvigsen, would the offer still be open?
it is.
The offer is still open if you wish to proceed, and if you want to accept the offer, or the court can go ahead and render judgment as it relates to both of those tickets.
I would not like to take the offer.
All right. Well, as it relates to operating a motor vehicle without insurance, all the court needs to determine is if you had motor vehicle insurance at that date and time. You admitted on the stand you did not have motor vehicle insurance. We did have confirmation from Officer Tyler that he did, at that date and time of the incident, find that you did not have motor vehicle insurance at the date of the incident. Therefore, the court finds you guilty of that ticket of operating a motor vehicle without insurance. The court will assess $200.50. As it relates to failing to yield right of way from stop sign, Ms. Stadler, with regards to that, the court has to look at, that would be Wisconsin statute 346.18(3). That means the court looks at whether the operator shall stop as required before entering a through highway and shall yield the right of way to other vehicles which have entered or are approaching the intersection through the highway. It was stated by all three witnesses, and that includes you, that Highway 87 is a straight highway. It does not have a stop sign, that the stop sign is on Skog Road. You indicated that that was the first time you were on Skog Road. You turned from Russell Road to Skog Road, and that on December 20th, the date of the incident, that you were driving and it was snowy and it was icy. There was a stop sign. You tried to stop, you hit your brakes and you slid through, and then you hit the truck and you caused the accident. You are sorry that that happened. You tried to be careful. You were driving 25 to 35 miles per hour, which arguably, I did not hear what the miles per hour was on that roadway, but I'm just going to say, let's give it to you that that was within the speed limit. So you were following the speed limit. You indicated you were driving carefully while you were approaching the stop sign. Unfortunately, Ms. Stadler, it's your negligence. A driver of a vehicle must be in control of their vehicle at all times, and that includes as it relates with road conditions and weather conditions. Therefore, because even if the road was not salted and it was icy, you as a driver you have the responsibility to ensure that you are driving carefully on that roadway. And you did not. And so this accident was caused by your negligence. Therefore, the court does find you guilty of failing to yield at the stop sign. And the court will assess, I believe it's $175.50 and 4 points off of your license as it relates to that ticket. We will have the restitution hearing. I will schedule the restitution hearing right now. And again, it can be by Zoom. What are your usual work hours?
It really depends. I work either from 7 to 7, 7 to 3, or like 3 to 11 p.m.
I can do it as quickly as May 8th, Ms. Ludvigsen, and I can do that at 2 o'clock if that works.
Yes, I can make that work, Your Honor.
Would we be able to have a witness by then? Yes, we can do May 8th at 2 o'clock. And again, Zoom would be permitted, or it can be an in-person.
And if I could get the defendant's email, just so I could send her any exhibits that maybe she
We
would be
can do
hard to
that.
see.
We'll get it off. We are off the record and we are adjourned